Let me in here. There we go. Every time I get one going, the other one want to trip on me. But anyway, so we're going to start with, well, first of all, let's break down what scientific concepts is, what chapters they are. Okay. So you have infection control. They say implements, tools, and equipment is part of general sciences in the book, but they do a separate, those represent a separate percentage on the Barber theory exam. Okay. So I always take chapter 5, implements, tools, and equipment. I always take that one out of scientific concepts and I put that somewhere else because it is its own section for the Barber theory. Okay. So you have infection control, general anatomy and physiology, basics of chemistry, basics of electricity, the skin, structure, disorders, and diseases, and properties and disorders of the hair and scalp. Now, what I do like to do is sometimes I may put chemical texture services in there because a lot of the talk of it tends to be more on the science side than it does on the advanced barbering services. But that's neither here nor there, right? Because a lot of the stuff that you are getting from scientific concepts is enough to apply when you get there. It's just a lot of times chemical texture services is part 4, and a lot if you're studying general sciences to start with, by the time you get the chemical texture services, it's like, all right, did I forget everything from way back when I first started with general sciences? So I like to keep them together, and I like to do it cumulatively on a regular basis, like literally daily. Anybody that follows me, they know I do what I call the full court press. It's like a cumulative review, but we literally try to keep it within the context of the CIB, which is the Candidate Information Bulletin. So anybody that's taking Barber theory, they have what's called a Candidate Information Bulletin. It may be different for your state, but I am based in South Carolina. When you are in South Carolina, you take the Barber theory, 35 to 40% is scientific concepts. 30 to 35% is hair care services, right? Then you have implements, tools, and equipment, and then you have, like, what was the other one? Well, basically the practice of barbering, right? So you have 35 to 40, 30 to 35, 15, and then 10. Okay. He's right about them. All right. I don't even know what you're talking about. We ain't worried about Kanye. Matter of fact, the only thing I got to say about Kanye is them haircuts. Like, dude, get a get a clean shape up for me. Get a crispy shape up for me. One good time. You ain't got to do it every time you live or whatever. Get you a crispy shape up because you be killing me, dude. That's the only thing I got to say about Kanye. All right, so let's start with chapter 4, infection control. And again, what I like to do is I use previously important and previous used information, and we go over it and over it and over it, and then we work our way up to new information. Okay, and we do that chapter by chapter by chapter till we completed all the chapters that's within scientific concepts. And Stony, if you are on here, please let me know. Wait a minute, I don't know who that is. What's that? I don't know what that is. All right, cool. So first things first, clean and sanitizing disinfectant, cleaning mechanical process, sanitizing chemical process for reduction, disinfecting chemical process for destroying. Federal agencies, you got OSHA, stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They are responsible for the material safety data sheets, which became the safety data sheets. Okay, because of the Occupational Safety and Healthy Act of 1970. You have the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. They register all the disinfectants that are sold and used in the United States. What is a disinfectant? We just said it is a chemical product used to destroy most bacteria, viruses, fungi on surfaces. Now, the only thing disinfectants will not destroy, and this is a test question, is bacterial spores. Okay. Hey, Gwen. How you doing, Gwen? You got two types of disinfectants. You got hospital level, they're effective for cleaning blood and body fluids, and then you have tuberculocidal. Okay, they kill they kill the bacterium that causes tuberculosis. All right. Infection control. You got four types of potentially harmful organisms. You got bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites. Okay. Next, bacteria. What is it? It is a single cell. It is a single cell microorganism that has both plant and animal characteristics. Types of bacteria. You got two. You got pathogenic, non-pathogenic. Most bacteria are non-pathogenic. Okay. They're harmless that may perform useful functions. Okay. In the body, non-pathogenic bacteria help the body break down food, protect against infection, and stimulate the immune system. Pathogenic bacteria is the harmful kind, the kind that we want to avoid. Okay. Got three classifications of pathogenic bacteria. Number one, cocci. Two, bacilli. Three, spirilla. In the cocci family, wait, let me back up. You got cocci, they're round shape. Bacilli, short and rod shape, and spirilla or spiral corkscrew. Okay. Within the cocci family, you got three of those. You got staphylococci, responsible for staph infections. Streptococci, responsible for strep throat. Diplococci, responsible for diseases like pneumonia. All right. Those three are within the cocci family. All right. Bacterial growth and reproduction, they have the active stage and inactive stage. When they are active, they're doing what they're doing. They are growing, they're reproducing. Okay. They're causing destruction. In the inactive stage, they form a wax-like covering until conditions are favorable so they can get back into the active stage. Okay. Virus, submicroscopic particle, infects and resides in the cells of a biological organism. It's capable of replication only through taking over the host cell's reproductive function. All right. Some examples of viruses: measles, mumps, chickenpox, rabies, yellow fever, hepatitis, polio, and HIV, which causes AIDS. Okay. One difference between viruses and bacteria is that a virus can live and reproduce only by taking over other cells and becoming part of them. All right. Bacteria can live and reproduce on their own. That's one key difference. That has been a test question. I have seen that on the test, on the official test before. Okay. Let's see what else. Fungi, single cell organisms, just like bacteria. Single cell organisms that grow in irregular masses. Okay. Most frequently encountered fungal infection, Tinea barbi, also known as Barber itch, happens on the face. Okay. Face and within the beard. Another type of fungus, Tinea capitis, fungal infection of the scalp. Okay. Characterized by red papules or spots at the opening of the hair follicles. Next, we're going to talk about parasites. Parasites are organisms that grow, feed, and shelter on or inside another organism, referred to as a host. Parasites take hosts while contributing nothing to the survival of that organism. Okay, they must have a host to survive. A parasite must have a host to survive. There's something distinctive about parasites. Okay, two types of parasites commonly encountered in the barbershop. You got head lice, scabies. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about immunity. What is immunity? Natural immunity, partly inherited, partly developed through healthy living. Acquired immunity is when you have something and then you acquire the immunity because you've had it and you've developed a defense against it, right? So the body immunity that the body develops after overcoming a disease. Okay. Next, sterilization. This is new territory. Sterilization is the process that destroys all microbial life, including spores. Sterilization kills spores as well. Okay. Disinfectants don't, but when you are sterilizing, it is the highest form of disinfection. Normal disinfectants don't kill bacterial spores. Okay. But when you are using something like an autoclave for sterilization, that is the process that destroys all microbial life, including spores. All right. Let's see. Just to make sure, anything I didn't want to add to that. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Okay, cool. So we'll stop right there for infection control. We're going to jump on anatomy, physiology, chapter 6. We're going to do this real quick. Okay. Anatomy, study of the human body structures. Okay. My hand, my fingers as a structure. That's anatomy. Physiology is the study of the functions and activities performed. My hand makes a fist. My fingers contrast, they contract, they expand, contract, expand, contract. Okay. So physiology is me making a fist. Anatomy is my hand that makes the fist. Got me? All right. Okay. Cells, basic units of all living things. They're composed of a substance called protoplasm. Protoplasm is colorless jelly-like. You have the nucleus. It is the dense, active protoplasm found in the center of the cell. And then you have the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is watery fluid that surrounds the nucleus of the cell, and it is needed for growth, reproduction, and self-repair. It is part of the protoplasm. So if somebody says, what is the difference between protoplasm and cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is part of the protoplasm, okay? Cell membrane, it is the cell wall that encloses the protoplasm and permits soluble substances to enter and leave the cell. Hey, do me a favor, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. I think you can, but please let me know. If you can't hear me, or if you hear like static or something in the background, please let me know, okay? James, what's going on? How you doing? All right. Tissue, collection of similar cells perform a particular function. All right. 4 types of tissue in the body. You got connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, nerve tissue. Within the connective tissue, you have adipose tissue, which is a technical term for fat. Adipose tissue gives smoothness and contour to the body. All right. Organs are structures composed of specialized tissues. So you have cells, the cells develop tissues, tissues develop organs. The organs develop systems. They are groups of body organs acting together to perform one or more functions. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about the skeletal system. Forms the physical foundation of the body, composed of 206 bones. Let's talk about the ones that are relevant for us as barbers, okay? You got the bones of the skull. You have the cranium. The cranium is an oval bony case that protects the brain. And then you have the facial skeleton, composed of 14 bones. It is the framework of the face. Let's talk about the bones of the cranium real quick. You have occipital bone, parietal bone, frontal bone, temporal bone, ethmoid bone, sphenoid bone. Okay. You have 1 occipital bone. You have 2 parietal bones. You have 1 frontal bone, 2 temporal bones, ethmoid bone, sphenoid bone. Okay. Occipital bone is the furthest most bone of the skull in the back. The parietal bones form the sides and top of the cranium. Frontal bone forms the forehead. Temporal bone form the sides of the head in the ear region. Ethmoid bone is the spongy bone between the eye sockets. It forms part of the nasal cavities. And the sphenoid bone joins all of the bones of the cranium together. Okay. Bones of the face, you got 14 bones of the face, but we're going to talk about the ones that are pertinent for cutting hair. You have nasal bones, lacrimal bones, zygomatic bones, maxilla, and the mandible. All right. Nasal bones, self-explanatory. Lacrimal bones, they are the small, thin bones located at the front inner wall of the eye sockets. Zygomatic bones, cheekbones. All right, basically. Maxilla, bones of the upper jaw. There are 2 of them. And the mandible, the lower jawbone. It is the largest and strongest bone of the face. Okay. We're going to stop at the muscular system. All right. Myology is the study of the structure, functioning, and diseases of the muscle. A muscle has 3 parts: origin, belly, and insertion. The origin, part of the muscle that does not move and is attached closest to the skeleton. Next, you got the belly. That's the middle part of the muscle. And then you got the insertion. That is the part of the muscle that moves and is farthest from the skeleton. Okay. We are going to stop there for anatomy and physiology. And let's see. We're going to do a few on, what's that next? Yeah. All right. We're going to do a few on chemistry, and then we're going to come back. All right. We're going to break it up in a couple parts this time. And who is this? Okay. Hey, what's up? What's up? How you doing? Chemistry. Science that deals with the composition, structure, and properties of matter. That we start our M word, okay? Composition, structure, and properties of matter and how matter changes under different chemical conditions. You got two types of chemistry. You got organic, inorganic. Organic chemistry deals with substances that contain the element carbon. Inorganic chemistry is a study of substances that do not contain carbon, okay? Element is the simplest form of chemical matter and contains only one type of atom. Let's talk about atoms real quick. An atom, basic building blocks of all matter. It's the smallest particle of the element that has the chemical identity of the chemical. At the center of the atom is the nucleus, made up of subatomic particles of protons and neutrons. Neutrons have no charge. Protons have a positive charge. Nucleus is orbited by electrons with a negative charge. All right. Next, we're going to talk about the molecule. So the molecule is formed when two or more atoms combine chemically in definite fixed proportions. What is the elemental molecules? Consist of two or more atoms of the same element. Compound molecules are chemical combinations of two or more atoms of different elements. Next, we are going to talk about physical chemical properties. Physical properties, characteristics that can be determined without a chemical reaction and that do not involve a chemical change in the substance. A chemical property, that was a physical property. A chemical property, characteristics that can only be determined by a chemical reaction and that cause a change in the identity of the substance, okay? An example of a chemical property is rusting iron or burning wood, right? Yeah. Next, we're going to talk about oxidation. Oxidation can be defined as either the addition of oxygen or the loss of hydrogen. It's a chemical reaction that combines an element or compound with oxygen to produce an oxide. When oxygen is chemically combined with a substance, the substance is oxidized. This starts to become important when you start talking about chemical services on the hair, okay? That's why we're getting into oxidation and things of that nature, okay? Oxidizing agents are substances that release oxygen. Hydrogen peroxide, which is H2O2, contains an extra oxygen atom that makes it an oxidizing agent. All right. That is a test question. All right. Different forms of hydrogen peroxide are commonly used in hair coloring, hair lightening, and chemical texture services. So let's talk about that one more time. I'm going to go over that one more time. Oxidizing agents are substances that release oxygen. Hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. All right, cool. H2O2 contains an extra oxygen atom that makes it an oxidizing agent. Different forms of hydrogen peroxide are commonly used in hair coloring, hair lightening, and chemical texture services. Anybody that ever got color, got blonde, or things like that, they know what we're talking about when we start talking about hydrogen peroxide. All right. And matter of fact, we will stop there for the chemistry. When I come back, we're going to jump into electricity, and then we're going to do properties, disorders, and diseases of the skin, scalp, and hair. And that will complete our scientific concept full court press for today. Okay. I'm your instructor, Pierre Hui, aka Mr. P. And for the people that's watching this particular video, if you know anybody want to start their career in barbering, I have the Barber Starter Pack. It is still 30% off for the rest of this month, from December to January 1st. For the rest of the year, still 30% off. This is for anybody that's never held a pair of clippers but wants to hold a pair of clippers and use them and start either a career, side hustle, or whatever. I got the Barber Starter Pack for you guys. I go over everything, all the stuff that you start with, okay? Holding the clippers, gripping the clippers, doing the shape up, doing the cut with the grain, against the grain, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? The difference between adjustable clippers and trimmers, all of that good stuff. We talk about blades, all that stuff. Anything that you can think of for somebody that absolutely has never picked up a pair of clippers and wants to start picking up a pair of clippers, y'all run that by them. The link is in the bio, okay? I will see you guys very, very, very soon, okay?